job. Well done.
Somebody do the call now, please. I will drive the bus and be very quiet now.
Jenn and Trin.
Was it 3? Did I get the right time? Jenn and Trin? Who's calling in?
Jenn and Trin are going to be here?
Yeah, they are.
I cut my vacation short. I heard they were going to be here.
Oh, good. Yes, they're gonna be here. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, I hadn't actually gotten. I mean, technically, I didn't get a chance to start my vacation. I was still on the plane, but luckily for me, the stewards let me sort of duck out early because they heard that Jenn and Trin were going to be here.
Hey!
Hey! What's up, Jenn and Trin? How you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us. I heard you guys are $100,000 over the same amount, the same time you were last year. That's amazing.
It's a terrifying amount. It's unreal. We're completely blown away, and this is our 13th year, and we're still completely blown away by what's happening right now.
Do you get to keep all of the money yourselves this year? That's how it works on year 13, right?
Yeah. Every 13th one, we just pocket it, right?
Right. Totally.
I'm getting a no from.
Well, all right. Well, you win some, you lose some on this bus.
Yeah.
15.
I was gonna say you've called in before to Desert Bus for Hope, but some of our viewers may not be too familiar with you. I was wondering if you could just introduce yourselves real quick.
Oh, it would be my grand honor.
Are you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Do it.
I'll do it and then I'll throw to you.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
I'll try and pick it up.
So I'm Jen and this is Trin, and we co-host a podcast called Friendshipping. We post every Thursday, and we accept listener questions about all the things that are making you feel weird regarding friendship. So we get questions like, is it okay if I unfollow my friend on Twitter? Or how can I maintain a long distance friendship? And we do our best to answer them.
Yeah, and every third question, it's about somebody who is like, can dudes or ladies be friends? And we answered that one time, and we'll never answer it again.
Get that question a lot in the year 2019.
Yeah, you just refer everybody back to that previous one, eh?
Yeah. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Oh
I wore my
gosh, that's a great
Chicago shirt for you especially today.
I was gonna say, like, this is very Chicago.
That's a Chicago nod. I might need to get that shirt.
Yeah, Malort is a disgusting beverage that we drink out here in the snowy city of Chicago.
It tastes like gasoline.
I was trying to find the name of the designer earlier today. I was actually unable to do it because they designed it based off a joke tweet that I made about Carly Rae Jepsen's Malort. And then like a month later messaged me and were like, hey, I hope this is okay, but I designed the shirt. Is this cool? And I was like, it's absolutely cool. How do I give you money for it? And they were just like, right here. I was like, perfect. So it's available for sale somewhere. I just have to go track down the link. But it's my favorite. It's really, really good to see the two of you. It's been a little while since we've gotten a chance to hang out. So,
like a year.
Yeah. At least. And on top of friendshipping, you have a couple other things you do. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm the head of
gigs.
community at Cards Against Humanity in Trin.
Oh, I am digital outreach on the games team at Kickstarter.
Awesome.
And we wrote a book. Should we tell them about the book?
Yeah, let's talk about the book.
I'm really excited to hear about the book, so please.
I am too. I'm really, really excited to read it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see who finishes it.
First.
Not it. So yeah, we spent spring and summer writing a book, and we just turned it in, and we're looking at a publication date, spring 2020, summer 2020, depending on what publisher agents say. But we wrote a book, and it's 50,000 words, and it's about friendship.
Wow.
We kind of took our podcast and turned it into book form because we figure not everyone listens to podcasts, believe it or not.
It turns out we have a lot to say about friendship.
Yeah.
Like almost 60,000 words worth of it.
Yeah. So we've been doing this podcast for like 3 or 4 years now. We have all these like pages and pages of Google Doc notes. So we were like, this could be a book if we cleaned it up.
Yeah.
So it needed a lot of cleaning up.
Yes.
But in a lot of like additional words. But that's the podcast really is the foundation of the book.
Yeah.
Does it follow the same sort of Q&A format, or is it more sort of chapters dedicated to different topics?
So like right now it does, but you know how it goes in the old book industry. Like you can send them something and then they're like, okay, set it on fire, mash up the ashes together, and then send it back to us. So once we get through that process, maybe it'll have changed.
Right now it's Q&A though. Like right now we've taken literally listener questions that we've gotten via email and changed them for privacy and space. But right now it's like a headline of can I unfollow my friend on Twitter? And then 3 examples of people who have asked us that in various ways.
Gotcha. Cool. That's awesome. I really like those sort of books where it starts with just someone sort of posing a question and then it just explores that from a couple of different angles kind of thing.
Yeah, and like that's the main thing we're trying to do with the book is like, we take a topic and then we look at it a few different perspectives because like we'll never be in the same room with somebody who asks us a question really. So we just are like, so here are all of the possibilities that could maybe show up. Good luck, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wrote like in our like introduction of the book, we wrote like, we're not experts at friendship and those don't even exist. There's no such thing as an expert on friendship. And we will never be able to fully answer anyone's questions, but all we can do is offer possibilities and ideas, and maybe they'll work for you, or maybe you'll realize that you knew the answer all along and you just needed us to say, good job.
Cool.
Good job.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, would you like to answer a couple of questions?
We're warmed up. We just recorded in this studio our episode this week, so like we're ready to go.
You're like ready to go.
We're fully warmed up.
Yeah, we're lubricated.
Okay, well we're gonna start with a question about warmth then. This is less about friendship and more about warmth, but it touches on that. This person is currently on public transit in Chicago.
Oh no! Sorry.
To stay warm. And they want to know, how do they make or keep friends in the winter with holidays keeping us busy and weather keeping everybody's sort of mood down a little bit?
Lower your expectations as low as you possibly can, I'd say, first of all.
And I would say be kind to especially kind and patient with people when they cancel, because it's like I walked out of, I took a nap on Sunday, as one does. Okay. And when I woke up, it looked like it was midnight outside, but it was like actually 4:30. And after that, I was like, well, I'm done for the day. There's no way I'm leaving my house. So expectations low.
Don't tell your friends to sack up and get out of the house.
Yeah, no pressure, no guilt trips.
There's very biological reasons why we want to hibernate right now. So I mean, I hate to say that this is going to be on the part of the asker, the work's going to be on the part of the asker to not take it personally that everybody wants to sleep for 16 hours a night.
Yeah.
And then when you do plan events, I would say plan them frequently, so people really can build up the emotional energy and literally pile on the layers, so they know, so they're prepared to go out into the world. And then of course, if the weather's bad, you expect cancellations.
Yeah, one thing that I always tell people about event planning at their homes or whatever is to give as much information as you possibly can to help somebody travel to the location. So when you're talking about winter in Chicago, I mean, we have so much snow right now. It's really depressing. But it's really important for me to not invite somebody over and then they're wandering around my block for 2 hours trying to find my place. Yeah. So I give very explicit, enter the courtyard and then turn this way and all this stuff. I'd say that, because I've bailed just because I was too cold before.
Yeah, and this is definitely there's no wrong moment to keep accessibility at front of mind, but this is definitely especially important time because there's literally black ice. It's literally dangerous outside for people.
Totally. Jen, did I tell you about how sometimes in the winter I become the rogue shoveler?
Oh
yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop at the hardware store on the way home from here, and I'm gonna take on the mantle again of rogue shoveler and just go down. Yeah,
that was cool.
That was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, did that answer the question?
One more piece of advice. Yeah, Trin and I always give if for strengthening your friendships or making new friendships, go volunteer. Use the spirit of the holidays to inspire you to get out the door, because you can find so many volunteer opportunities that are indoors.
Totally. And volunteers are some of the most hardworking and interesting people. And if your friends are feeling not hardworking and uninteresting, those are nice people to hang out with, and they will definitely leave their homes.
I think we can all agree here in this room that volunteers are nice and interesting people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thumbs up to all of yous.
Yeah.
Guys.
That felt like a really good answer. That touched on a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
I've been doing a little bit of a similar thing with my house parties recently, of making sure to include accessibility info, better directions to where everything is, driving, transit, walking kind of thing. So just to make it easier for folks.
Yeah, if people are doing you the kindness of leaving their comfy homes, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And Andrew, I know you're like a fantastic host.
Thank you.
I've noticed that. I know that even from just seeing your parties on Instagram. But there's something really special about being like the glue in the host, that the place that brings people together. I think that's another good thing, like about the winter. You can encourage people to be like, if you only leave your house one time this month, let's do it for this.
Yeah.
You can make it an event that's sort of like worth going to, where they know that they're going to be treated well and it'll be fun and it won't be too overwhelming and there'll be people they know and kind of thing.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Tread gently with your nerd friends.
We're very sensitive.
Can I give you a second question here?
Yes.
This is
immediately.
This is someone who's saying a few years ago, due to a combination of some issues in their life, they wound up ghosting on some of their friends, sort of just kind of vanishing due to some mental health issues and financial issues at the time. And they were wondering, what's a good way to try and reconnect with those folks? Should they message them directly and apologize? Should they try and explain themselves? Is there a better way? And to a certain degree, they're kind of wondering, like, is this a good idea at all to try and reconnect here?
This is a great question.
Yeah, and I think it is a good idea to want to reconnect with your friends, but I also feel like it's a very individual thing. So people are like, oh, I need to reconnect with all of my friends because I ghosted all of my friends. Focus on one friend first. So if you feel like you need to slowly get back into the game, like maybe start connecting with somebody that you texted with all the time first. Like you don't need to like immediately plan a party sort of thing.
Yeah.
Stick to the channels that you're already comfortable with. So if getting back into the friendship game means like, oh, hey, I'm just going to like start tweeting at my friends more often, or like I'm going to text my friends memes more often. Like don't go too far out of your norm when you're starting to ramp back up. And also, again, individually, I'd say pick one friend first.
Yeah, that's great. Like you don't want to all of a sudden like email 17 people that you ghost on at once. You'll become overwhelmed.
Yeah.
If they all get back to you, that's a lot to handle. So yeah, I like the idea of doing it slowly. Deliberately with one or two people, and with the understanding that everyone ghosts, has been ghosted on, and will ghost at some point in their life.
Yep.
This is not a rare concept. It feels like such a dramatic ending, but really people drift apart all the time. It's just part of adulthood. So don't be too hard on yourself with the fact that you had other important things other than socializing. Like that's just part of life.
Yeah, and I think that pre-accepting that you probably hurt some people, and then some people they didn't even notice. So accept that both of those things might be true and like come at peace with them first. So if someone's upset that you left, then maybe accept also the fact like, oh wow, my presence meant something to them, and I'm gonna try and keep better in touch in the future. And if they're like, yo, I didn't even notice you were gone, well then that's a great jumping off point. Like let's start texting again from that point.
Yeah, that's good. Oh man, I was gonna say something else. What was it? Keep your expectations like realistic. Some people won't be able to reconnect with you. They will be too busy, or they won't have extra social energy, or they just won't be interested in pursuing reigniting an old friendship, and that's fine.
Yeah, let people ghost you back if that's what ends up happening. So again, like I hate that a lot of our advice is like keep those expectations low, but I mean like people are people and they've got a lot going on.
Yeah, some people will be so happy to hear from you, and some people will not even get back to you at all.
Right. Yeah, like the world still kept turning. You can do it though.
I think it's actually really good that oftentimes you'll sort of touch on like, hey, it's great that you've asked this question. This is going to require some work from you too. Like friendship is very much a two-way street. So rather than being like, okay, here's what those people need to do, it's here's what you, the asker, need to do. And maybe this is what you need to communicate to the other folks about your needs.
Yeah,
so that's one of the things that I really admire in these answers.
Oh, thank you. And I would also say treat these friends like new friends too.
Yes.
Because if it's been a long time since you've seen or spoken with them, especially if you ghosted abruptly, they're new people now, and so are you. And that's not a bad thing. Like growth is important, and it sounds like this asker's in a better place to do friendship, and that's wonderful. But that means like you need to ask questions like, "How have you been?"
Yeah.
You need to ask the basic stuff.
Like that's really good is like you already have a built-in conversation with topics with everybody. It's like, so what have you been up to for 4 years?
Yeah.
It's just sort of like catch me up, like talk to me about what's new.
Yeah.
Cool. I have another one here. After a recent social function, this person has been feeling very isolated from one of their friend groups. They're feeling like they've having to put a lot of effort in to fit in, and be part of the group, and they're not feeling like they're getting the same back. So they're wondering how they could bring this up and help their friends understand how they feel with regards to this isolation.
Interesting. I'm trying to like figure out. I want to make sure I have the context correct. So the asker has just been putting in a bunch of work and then not getting the work back.
Yeah, and it feels like this feeling is intensified after a recent social function, but I don't have any detail on what that might have been.
So, I mean, I would say like the first place to start is, why did you put in all of the work? Did anybody ask you to put in that work? So, I mean, like if we start from there's this really great song on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is this incredible musical, hilarious show from a couple of years back, where it was like, everything that I did for you that you didn't ask for. So
that's so good. The title alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's really what part of that can be is like, so, and this might just be my interpretation because it is kind of a vague question, which is fine. If you put together a function and you threw this amazing party for your friends and they didn't do it back for you, it's like, well, why did you put that work in the first place? Were you expecting a thank you, or did you want to do that? Like first, I'd say like examine your reasons for putting in work for your friends.
Yeah, a lot of our advice on our show usually starts not with an action or a conversation, although it usually comes down to communication. It usually starts with like taking a step back from the situation and examining things like why you feel this way, what did you want, what were your expectations versus what happened, what did you literally say out loud, and then what did you get back, like that kind of thing. We always let people make sure they're assessing the situation so they understand it internally before they make an external action.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like the scales of friendship will get thrown out of balance. Somebody will be giving too much, someone will be taking too much.
Yep.
But a lot of times, and again, there's also all kinds of situations where this may not be true. But many times, it's not just the fault of someone who's taking; it's the fault of the person who is giving too much and putting that other person in a weird situation where they're receiving too much.
Yeah. And I wonder what the asker means by work.
Yes,
because that's very important here.
Yeah,
maybe it's emotional labor. Or
the indicator here is they said that they're putting in a lot of effort to fit in and be a part of the group.
Oh man, but if you feel like you have to do work to fit in with people, they may not be your people.
Yeah, what I want to do is tell the friend group, like, hey, this is maybe a time to open your doors a little bit.
Yeah. Or like even to say like, hey, Jen, like I feel like I have to do this, and this to feel comfortable around this friend group. I'm wondering, like, can you help me out with this? Like how can I not feel this way?
Yeah, and that's a good point, because friend groups are overwhelming.
Yes.
I think I would, if I could speak to the asker directly, what I would say is like, is there an individual in this group that you feel close to? Is there an individual that you're more interested in hanging out with one-on-one? Because I would pursue that a little bit before trying to get into the entire group.
I agree.
Yeah.
More questions.
I really like that first answer there, because it is very easy to fall into that. You're doing a whole bunch of stuff and you're not feeling like you're getting a lot back. But from the other person's perspective, you're just going about living your life, and then suddenly they get mad at you for not having done these expectations that they haven't communicated.
Yeah, and a lot of times friendships will get stuck in these patterns. Another question that Jen and I get a lot is, my friend group has constantly been doing this thing, and I need them to stop even though I've been participating in it. So like, for example, like all my friends roast each other all the time, but my friends are like, but I'm getting really hurt by this. Even though I do roast my friends, I need to talk about it.
Yeah, I have now decided that I don't like it when you guys make fun of blank. You do have to voice the change.
Yes, you have to voice the change.
You do have to signal to the group, like, this is how it was and this is what's changing now.
Right. That makes
More.
sense. All right. Jenn and Trin, how do you handle toxic positivity?
Toxic positivity. Yeah. So is that kind of like, you can freaking do it even if you can't? Like, what is that?
I'm afraid I don't have much information beyond that. That's the full question, but my understanding is that it can be very much the kind of like, oh, you just need to believe in yourself. You just need to keep going. You just need to not really actually wanting to bring up negative topics. Just like, oh, you just need to be positive. You're always so down with your depression or whatever. You just need to have a positive attitude.
Oh, I see.
God,
you should just
I was
drink
literally the asker of this question.
Can you explain a little bit more? Like, tell us everything about this horrible thing.
It is
Talk directly into his chest.
Yeah. Ignoring situations like depression, for example, or a bad job, or going like, you can just knuckle under and you can just plow through. It's not a problem. Or there's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so this, I feel like I get, so on a personal anecdotal level, I get this a lot from people who are older than me, like my parents' age. I mean, like, just, you can get through it, kiddo, you know, whatever. Like, I think that the first thing that you might want to do, and this is very, very difficult, is to internalize the fact that the person talking to you wants you to feel better. Mm-hmm. And it sucks.
And they're doing a bad job.
They're doing such a bad job.
Yeah.
But that is what they want.
That is what they want. And like, and to operate under, I mean, you never have to give anybody the benefit of the doubt if you don't want to, but if you can, like in this situation, let's just be like, okay, hey, I understand you want me to feel better. There are some real things dragging me down right now, and I don't want to get motivated from you. I really just want you to hear me out.
Yeah, it would be better if you just acknowledge the pain I'm in, as opposed to being like, you got this, because I don't really feel like I got this.
Yeah, I don't feel like I got this, and when you say I do, it makes me feel like you're not actually listening to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are you being dismissive?
Yeah, I don't feel seen. I know that like that's become so like buzzwordy, like feeling seen, but like, doesn't it freaking feel good to feel seen?
Oh,
like
yeah.
it does, and
Absolutely.
we all know what that means.
Yeah. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Matt, do you feel like that?
Yeah, that's really difficult. I think I feel like one of the problems with being like, you'll get through it. Do this. You got this. It feels like advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's unsolicited advice is basically a no in friendships. It's like you should go to yoga. You should get out more. You should get more sunshine. It's like, really, I had a really bad day at work, and you tell me what else I need to do.
Yeah.
Like that's not helpful.
And it's like the whole thing of, so whenever one of my friends will come to me with like a problem, I'll say, okay, so do you want to vent, or do you want some advice, or what you want here? Because I'm ready for anything.
Yeah.
But you know, that won't always be asked. So sometimes you have to say it out loud and say like, hey, actually right now, I'm not looking for advice. I really just need to vent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can literally say, can I complain for 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Or
20 hours.
yeah, or for the next hour.
A thing
Or
that I'm trying to,
not looking for advice.
I was saying a thing that I'm trying to internalize, as I'm often very much of the problem-solving mindset, is I'm trying to internalize when a friend or one of my partners starts talking to me about this, of just opening with, "Hey, are you just looking to vent for a bit, or do you want some help solving this?"
That's really wise.
Then they don't have to do it right away. I can just ask them. They'll tell me right away, and it reminds me to just stop trying to solve it and listen to them. And
That's beautiful.
I get it. I get fixy too. I get in there and I'll be like, oh, I think I can help with this. But like, really, you're just seeing like a tip of the iceberg. You don't really know this situation.
Yeah.
Hi. I am a good friend in that I like listening to people, but I'm a bad friend in that I'm always like, well, I'm a problem solver. How can we solve this? And it's just like, as somebody who will do that, you will never offend me. You say, hey, I just want to vent. I just need to complain.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, cool, I respect that. But some people are just quick on the emotional uptake. So just tell them what you want and be appreciated.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Tell people what you want 2020.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what our advice comes down to, is tell your friends how to treat you, and your friends will hopefully, your friends will listen.
They should.
They should. That's what friends do.
We try not to say should, but your friends really should listen to you.
At the same time, sometimes your friend can't listen to the vent. Like, sometimes that won't happen.
Yeah,
sometimes they'll be like, I can't do that right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
and that's all right too.
Yeah,
we definitely advocate for asking permission before sounding off.
A hundo P.
Because sometimes the answer is, I'm actually dealing with my own thing right now, or I'm actually about to take the dog for a walk, so I can't get on the phone, or it's even just, I'm not emotionally equipped for this, because it might be something that you just can't tackle.
And like, nobody is like anybody's landfill, like we don't want anybody to be a dumping ground. Yes, that is a very good point to bring up.
Yeah.
If you need that, get a therapist.
Yeah, somebody that you can pay to dump on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's their job.
Yep.
They'll help you.
Yeah. It's like renting like one of those containers in a warehouse where you just like stash all your feelings.
What it's for.
It's beautiful.
And they're also trained to deal with it. So, hey.
Yeah.
You two are
you
super
You can't treat your friends as stand-in for mental health professionals.
No, you can't.
If we're getting close to a mental health topic here, I have a mental health related question.
Sure.
This is from someone who has been, they say, I've been struggling with depression and burnout for the past couple of months, and I feel bad that I need so much support right now. This means I don't ask for as much support as I should, but I still feel like the help that I do ask for is too much.
So I guess my first discussion topic, Trin, would be what you mean by the word support. Because just like we were just saying, your friends, if you are dealing with depression, serious anxiety, whatever the mental health illness is, your friends aren't your number one contact here.
Totally.
A doctor, a professional, a therapist, a counselor, maybe a partner who can direct you again to a mental health professional. Those are your first people to reach out to.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you, Jen. Like, I think we need to talk about what support is, because support is, we don't want anybody to be a dumping ground, and we want to give this asker the benefit of the doubt that they're not actually doing that. But it sounds like if you feel like you are straining all of your resources of like emotional sturdiness, then you probably need to call in a professional. And which is like, it's the worst advice sometimes, because, Jen and I are Americans and we're not going to get into all that.
Yeah.
But like, finding a mental health professional is difficult and it takes a lot of time. But I think that this would be a good time to allocate your resources towards that if you can.
Yeah, and then, as someone who's suffered from depression, I also know what it means to have your depression brain lie to you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that.
You feel like such a burden on everything, like such a life suck to everyone around you, and you are not. And your friends do want to help bear your burdens.
Yes.
And I think spreading the support you need around a group of friends is worthwhile to do.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on, make sure you're seeking mental health topics from a mental health professional. Don't ask one specific friend all the time for help, because that person is also a whole person.
Yes.
Yeah. And a power balance might be in play. They might feel obligated to say yes to you.
Yeah.
There are definitely some checks and balances here. We want you to not rely on your friends for like professional help, but you can still rely on your friends.
Yeah, and I feel like all of us living in this modern age have a little bit of burnout just like prevalent in our lives. Like, we have access to 24-hour news. We have all of the hottest takes pumped into our brains all the time. We are more aware of human suffering now than we have ever been in any generation. And it's a lot to take on. I guess this is separate, but for the burnout component of that, try to unplug where you can unplug, and your sadness about the world doesn't do anything unless it actually pushes you to action.
Yeah, that's so good, Trin. Yeah, we give you permission to take care of yourself. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Awesome, thank you. I have another one for you here.
Yes.
What is a good way to deal with a toxic person in your friendship group who the others in the group don't seem to have much of a problem with? So similarly, when it gets to the point of needing to sort of ask someone, the phrase they use is to cut someone out of your life, but that's a little bit of a harsh phrasing there.
I think it's pretty good.
Take those cleavers to your life. You've only got one. I mean,
we're into that.
Like, I don't share my limited mortality with people who don't please me.
I guess I think it less of cutting them out and more of cutting them loose if I need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it.
I'm just like, no, we're going to go different directions now.
You go live your life. I'll live mine over here separately.
I mean, I think the first thing to determine is whether or not this person are they toxic, or do you just really not like them?
Yeah, let's talk about toxicity, because that's a very important word that we don't take lightly. And they might be toxic. Like, we're not saying they're not toxic. They might be.
There's a very good chance that they're perfectly toxic, but like they might not be. Like, toxic means that they are like infecting your life, that like they are sapping your energy,
they're poison.
They've got their little tendrils in the group and like all this stuff. I mean, if you're talking about somebody who is like abusive, who is like energy pulling, I mean, we often advocate for finding somebody in your friend group that you can trust to talk to get like a perspective on this. Like just like kind of talk it out with somebody who also knows the situation.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
And the asker mentioned that the other people in the group don't seem to be affected by it. That actually doesn't surprise me, because toxic people don't act toxic to all people all
That's
at
very
once.
true.
They usually, just the nature of being toxic, and we all are capable of being toxic, focus on one person in particular, something about their personality, the power imbalances. That's usually how it plays out.
Yeah.
And we're not like professional counselors or anything, but we've both been part of toxic friendships.
Right.
And I was a toxic friend when I was like in my early 20s. And I remember too vividly. I wish I could forget how all that went. So I'm not surprised that the group doesn't seem to be affected by it.
Right.
That said, they might be.
Yeah.
They might be more effective than you realize.
Yeah, I think we would probably need more information to get into this in a level that would be like helpful and effective. But I think that like a good place that anybody can start from is, you can put distance between you and somebody else, whether or not they're toxic. If you just don't like them, if you just feel very neutral about them, you don't want to waste your energy on them. You don't need like a reason like that person's toxic to remove somebody from your life.
Right.
Yeah.
I read this amazing thing on Captain Awkward. It's a website, a blog by a woman from Chicago, actually. So amazing. And one thing she wrote that I just want like tattooed on my brain is, you should have preferences and opinions about the people you spend your time with.
Yep.
You do not have to give your time to people that are unkind.
Yeah.
And in fact, as far as we know, we only have one life. As far as we know.
That's just the evidence that we have
That's
currently.
the information
we've got in front of us
That's
right
the
now.
information we have available to us. And you don't have to spend it with people who are toxic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Boom.
Nailed
Donezo.
it. Awesome. If one of these folks asking questions did want to get in touch with further detail in the future, I believe you take questions at your podcast, do you not?
We do.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Friendshippingpodcast@gmail.com.
That's where you can email us our questions, or you can tweet at us if you want. We usually take questions, like the ones that we put on the air, we take from our email, but you can tweet at us at DoFriendship.
Awesome.
it.
Excellent.
Giving our menchies.
I just wanted to check around the room to see if anybody had a question here before I do a couple last things. I don't want to keep you too long. Excellent.
Oh, we're happy to be here.
We're really happy to have you here. I'm super happy that you're
numbered
able to call
dead
back this
air.
year. Because, like, Jen and I haven't seen each other in a while, and Trin, I think we saw each other for about 10 seconds at PAX.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like, hey.
I think I saw like the dozen people that I wanted to see for 10 seconds in passing that last PAX. Last PAX
That's how it
was
goes.
rough.
That's
Yeah.
how it goes.
No, I'm just doing the weird, like, I'm good with faces. I think I've met Trin before.
I can't see whose mouth is
I'm sorry,
talking.
excuse me.
This is,
Is that Jacob?
Hi.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
we were on a
Jacob.
panel together.
Yes, we were. Okay, thank goodness. All right, good.
What's up?
I was like, you are very familiar. Okay,
It's
I'm
all
sorry.
good with faces.
It is bus time. It is bus brain. I have re-met like 8 people, and I'm like, hi, I'm Jacob. They're like, yeah, we know. We
Of
did
all the
that.
people on the planet, I feel like the desert bus kids are going to be like, yeah, it's fine. We're
Yeah.
friends. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yep, good. Thank you. Hey, we're
We're
on
all
a panel
tired.
together. All right, great.
What?
I thought we might have been.
One of these years, we're going to show up on like day 5, and Kathleen and I are going to try and introduce ourselves to each other. It's going to be like, no, we met. I have a not question, but just a note from a fan here that wanted to say thank you very much for making such a wonderful podcast. They're looking forward so much to the book, and that your podcast has done so much for them. Thank you so much.
Man, I was about to make a joke, be like, oh, but that's just too nice.
I'm trying really hard to like genuinely accept compliments, you
Oh,
know?
it's so hard.
Because I could very easily genuinely accept criticism of
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds. So it's
if
just like,
there are 100 nice comments and one mean one, I'm like,
I'm so bad.
I'm learning to get better
Same.
about that.
Yeah.
Though. Anyway,
So
thank you very much.
This is to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. And I wanted to give you one more piece of information before we give you a chance to let folks know where you're at and continue on with your day. But one of the things I had in my notes was that you were willing to accept questions about Jimmy Eat World.
Oh, yes.
I have a Jimmy Eat World question.
Oh,
for
my
you.
God. Lay it on us.
Have you heard Jimmy Eat World's cover of Firestarter by Prodigy?
Yes, I have. Have you heard their cover of Last Christmas?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Both of those are great.
They're both good for very different reasons.
Yeah.
Jim Adkins also went to like I think the BuzzFeed headquarters and like covered a Taylor Swift song, and it was terrible.
Oh,
There
I
was
didn't see
no
this at
reason
all.
for him to need to make a Taylor Swift song sadder.
Jeez.
Oh, I made it. Was like acoustic cover?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, why would you do that?
Oh.
It's already it's fine.
There's an extremely old Jimmy Eat World song. I might be even from an EP that is like unreleased or something. It's called Jenn, but it's spelled with one N.
No.
And it just, it destroys me.
But it was just so close. They were wrong, though. They spelled it wrong.
Almost. Cool. Well, thank you both very, very much for calling in. We're very happy to have you here. Would you like to tell viewers just once again where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Jenn, 2 N's, Dangerous.
And I'm on Twitter at Trin and Tonic, like a gin and tonic, but with me inside of it. And then our podcast is at Do Friendship. And if you want to email us a question, friendshippingpodcast@gmail.com.
Or friendshippingpodcast.com to listen to our extremely long backlog. Don't listen to the early episodes.
Yeah, just start right now.
Just jump in.
Yeah.
Because there's not a narrative. You can just jump in at any point, right?
I mean, there's a couple arcs. Like, there's an arc where I joined a softball league, and we talked about that. And there's an arc where Trin. Well, we're still in the middle of the snails arc.
Yeah,
Trin has pet snails.
And then there was an arc where I had a bad therapist who stole a dog and gave it to somebody. It's a whole thing.
You got to get in there. I mean, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you both very, very much
Thank
for
you
calling
so
in.
much for having us. This was really fun.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody. This is amazing.
Bye, boss.
Bye, boss. Beep,
Bye,
beep.
friends.
Bye, Trin.
Bye.
Oh, man. Oh, I was my own head for a second there. I want that back.